Middlesbrough, we're not beating the teams that we should be beating, to be honest. And it's nailed on the Plymouth win. Absolutely nailed on. Just a team we should be beating. A team that is probably ranked one of the worst, probably in the division.
Every metric, to be honest, at the moment. Hello, welcome back to yet another edition of the Scouting Report. Last Saturday, we had to face our beloved son in Michael Cooper. On Saturday, we do it all again, but this time with more of a stepson as Finn Azaz's Middlesbrough roll into Plymouth. Joining me to discuss that and give us a lowdown on all things Middlesbrough, Johnny from the Boro Breakdown podcast. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you, mate. And secondly, I don't want to go on about Finn Azaz too much because I feel like it might break your heart at this point. But thanks for having me on, mate.
No, it's fine. It's honestly fine through like gritted teeth. Yeah, I miss him so much. But we'll get on to him in a minute. But yeah, just start by just running us through your season so far. Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm happy. It's been a really mixed season, to be fair, and we've not won against teams that we should have beaten candidly, and then we beat the teams in and around us, and it's been like a really consistent season, and we've been our own downfall in games where we've give silly goals away, and then we've had to claw the game back, and that's been a bit frustrating, but on the other side of it, we've been on a bit of a fairly okay run. And, we're now in the playoffs, expect where we should be. But if we didn't drop the points we shouldn't have dropped, we would have been top pretty much, basically. But that's like if buts and maybes, isn't it? But we should be a lot higher than what we should be. And I think if you could ask any Middlesbrough fan, they'd I'd probably agree with me on that one. But we are where we are. And we've got to really compete for the playoffs and see how we go for the remainder of the season. But overall, I would say it's been a really consistent season, but I am still happy.
Yeah, because that would be your expectation at the start of the season, right? It's playoffs, surely. You weren't
Yeah, definitely. Like it was definitely playoffs. You can't compete with, I think, with like the likes of Leeds, and we all thought like Burnley would be in that top two, or Luton as well. I thought Luton were a shoo-in to be up there, and they've like fell off a cliff. And there's some good teams that have been down in this division for a little while or a couple of seasons, and we expected to be in around it. We look good in terms of goals scored. We're making a lot of chances, and we always have. And with that, you expect to be up there, or we'll try and outscore teams. We've had a much better start than what we did last year to some extent, because we were bottom of the league after like 8 or 9 games last year. And we made a better start this year, but it's that inconsistent in games where it's slowly starting to level out. But the playoffs was definitely like it's not a failure if we don't, but it's like 90% of what Boro fans kind of expect us to be there.
Yeah, I would expect you to be finishing in and around, and most probably in the playoffs, especially with players like Mr. Finn. It's another former Manchester United player turned manager derby. Yeah. Michael Carrick. I know you've previously come on our pod and said that he's a man that could take the reins at England at some point. I assume you're still quite happy with him as well.
Yeah, I love Michael Carrick. I really do. I think he's a great manager for us, and he's developed pretty much every player that we've brought in or he's had at the club, and I think that is such a good sign of a good manager. If you're able to develop all the players around them, that is just fantastic. And it can be a little bit, not arrogant, probably the wrong words, but but too stuck to principles and games where I'm expecting him to maybe change it a bit more drastically, but he waits and waits and waits, and at the 75th minute, that sub will probably happen, and it's like you kind of know when he's going to do it now. But that's the only downside to it all. His tenure has been really, really fun. He's a manager who has the best goals per game ratio since like World War II or something daft like that, which is actually incredible because I've been served up some absolute awful footballing managers in the last like decade. You know, Tony Pulis, Neil Warnock, Jonathan Woodgate, all back to back, and that was brutal in itself. And you know, to have a manager who allows his team to create chances is feels still new to me, even though he's been a manager for a couple of years now. So yeah, I still really love him. And players are flourishing in attacking areas, and I think that's really good to watch. But now you've got the side of fans where going, if you don't score more than 2, it's not good enough. So it's quite funny that we used to be difficult to score 1, but now we're scoring 2 or 3. It's not good enough anymore. But it's funny how perceptions change, right? So
Yeah.
But yeah, still love him.
What's question words? How do you set up under him? Like, what's your style of play? Obviously, you say about free flowing, attacking opportunities, but how are you looking in terms of a system, and who are the key men in that system to look out for?
Yeah. So we've always played this 4-2-3-1 system. We did switch to a 3-4-2-1 at parts of last year, and notably the Leicester game where we done the double over Leicester last year, and we went away from home, beat them 2-0, convincingly beat them as well. We were brilliant that day. But that 4-2-3-1, it's like one of those systems where you start to see more and more of now in football, where that system will change based on where you are on the pitch. And, you're starting off if you're building out from the back, you've got your 2 in the box, and you've got like a 2-4-4. And then once you build out, it might go to like, say, like a 4-2-2-2, and then it'll go to like a 4-2-4 again. So like you will see it like move as the game progresses. You'll tend to see our left midfielder, Riley McGree. He'll come into a much more of a central position. So you've got a box midfield with Finnan, Azaz, and you've got Ben Doak holding the width on the other side. But what we've seen with McGree being out is that Delano Bergsorgers came in and tried to play as an out-and-out winger on the left, Doak on the right, and then you'll see Middlesbrough's left back in Borges come in more central as like that inverted left back into midfield. So you're playing with like a back 3, and then you've got 3 midfield, and then it's like a 4 up top. And that in itself has worked. It's limited Boro getting done on the counter attack, but there's still, we're still to be got at. We still give away chances, and it's from our own doing that. If you already watched the Leeds game, we gave that game away because we were trying to pass out from the back or pass in the wrong areas and gave it away. Then that first 10 minutes at the weekend, we could have been 3-0 down and then end up winning 1-0. And if we're not confident, we're making mistakes, we'll be punished essentially. But the real key players to look out for, obviously your boy Finn Azaz, everything comes through him, and from like watching him, he plays in like that 10 position. He free roams for us, which I think is a little bit higher than what I think he played for at Plymouth. Right, he was on.
It seems to be, from like what I've seen of Middlesbrough so far, it seems to be pretty similar, to be honest. Like, I think he's pressed slightly further up than where he was for you last season, right? He seems to be, pushing on a bit. But yeah, I think it looks similar to Prime Azaz at Argyle, to be honest. And same for Newport and stuff. Like you said, that that focal point in the 10, like just everything goes through him, and he's just. I just miss him so much.
Got nothing left. But not to be fair, I can understand why you would miss him, though. Like, everything can go through him. The way he picks up areas in the pitch, that turn and go from his right foot to his left, gets in really good areas. He likes to try something that might not come off, but if it does, you've got a big chance. And initially, he was a bit like Marmite, where some Boro fans hated him, some Boro fans loved him, but you could always see what he was trying to do. And I remember like messaging you quite a lot, saying, I can't believe like people don't actually rate him. It's actually insane. And we were waxing lyrical over him on WhatsApp. But yeah, he's just so good, man. And I absolutely love him. I think he's fantastic. he's just got the ability to go up if he wants to. And, he's found a really good partnership with Tommy Conway and Emmanuel Latilaf, which definitely helps because, both of them are scoring goals, and that's really helpful. And then having Ben Doak as well on the right-hand side, that's just took the pressure off him because we're able to dart the ball out wide to Doak, and there's more pressure on him to create from a winger perspective. If you have McGree or Bergsorg, that takes your pressure off as well because they're moving on the left-hand side. And if your strikers are scoring goals, that again takes your pressure off you. So he's kind of playing with a bit of freedom at the minute. And, if he's full of confidence and creating chances, then you're getting the best out of him. And he's just getting better and better and better. And I really adore him. So I can feel your pain now as we're talking about it. So we watch he'll drop an absolute stinker at the weekend, score 2 own goals, get sent off, and
I can assure you,
an Argyle shirt or something. You know what I mean?
I can assure you he won't. He's absolutely nailed on to score at home park. I just hope he doesn't celebrate. And I'm one of these that quite likes it when players celebrate against their former clubs because it's quite funny. But I think if I watched Finn knee slide in front of the Devonport, it would see me off. I think, to be honest, if I'm completely honest, he's like an ex that you really want to see do well, but actually you don't really. You really don't because it's just painful. But anyway, enough about him. Obviously, you touched on him already. Ben Doak seems to be a real star in the making. First loan in the Championship as well. That kid looks incredible. Already doing bits for Scotland as well, isn't he? That's another thing with Finn as well. The second he left us was when he got called up to Ireland. It was come on, it should have been in their first team.
It's a club bias, isn't it? I think is it because Plymouth are a little technically on paper a little bit smaller? Does that mean now
the way? Yeah, I can see I can see Michael Cooper getting called up as third choice England keeper ahead of James Trafford now that he's at United. Had Ryan Hardy been at any other club in the Championship when he was double figures last season, I could have seen him get into the Scotland squad. Lyndon Dykes was still getting called up, but he's still getting called up in League One. So but Hardy's been off the boil a bit, so need to stop baiting that drum. Really quickly, just noticed that Michael Carrick is yet to win against Plymouth Argyle in his managerial tenure. Obviously, we got that win up at your place under Ian Foster, and then a 3-3 draw at home park in which Finn Azaz scored last year. So hopefully more goals in this one. Anybody that's missing for you or unlikely to feature?
I got a few out. Mainly from a defensive standpoint. We've had some big long-term injuries. With Darrell Lenihan still being out for a while, Tommy Smith still out, Bangura for our left back, and Lucas Engels still out as well. We've also got Ryan McGree, who has just made a glass, so he might not even appear at all. And I think that would be it for the time being. In terms of real key players that we've had in depth and played some really big games for us. Yeah, they're all injured, just out, but there's no more suspensions that I'm aware of. I think Edmondson got booked, but I wasn't sure if it was 4th or 5th at the weekend, so I feel like I should have knew that already. But if he is out, you'll see Dale Fry come into centre half, and we should be ready to go. But it's Middlesbrough. We're not beating the teams that we should be beating, to be honest. And it's nailed on the Plymouth win. Absolutely nailed on. Just a team we should be beating. A team that is probably ranked one of the worst, probably in the division.
In every metric, to be honest, at the moment.
So now I'm going to teach you about something I'm called typical Boro, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's a phrase that we say that, it's just typical Boro that, we'd be in a hot streak and then we'd lose against the worst team on metric on paper, about 3-0, and then we'll go away the next game and then we'll win the next 5 on the spin. That is a typical Boro. And that is written all over for this game, to be honest. Michael Carrick sees Wayne Rooney and Mike Phelan. He's spent so much time with them, and they'll just do him over, and we'll get beat. So you're not confident, and I'm not confident. So should we just shake hands and go for a draw at this point?
No, I'll take it. Hopefully a high scoring draw though, just for some entertainment. It's not exactly a close trip for yourselves, is it? So The fair play to, I don't know how many you're bringing, but fair play to any fan that's doing Middlesbrough to Plymouth on a Saturday just before Christmas. That's madness. I know that we would do it the other way around. We have to head up to Coventry on Boxing Day, so that's a nice short trip for us. So I just hope there's goals. Can you see it? Can you see there being goals? What is your score prediction for this one?
I do think there is goals in it. I really do. I think it'll probably be either a Desmond 2-2 or we'll go away and win 3 or 4-1. I think.
Okay.
The Oxford game for us was just one of those breakthrough moments where we scored 4, 5, and 6 in 3 games. So it's like 18 goals in 3 games or something stupid daft like that. But then we dropped a stinker against Blackburn. So, but that is a typical Boro. I expect to get a result and not do it. So, but I think it's going to be a 2. I think either 2-2 draw or 3-1 Boro. I think.
Okay, so much for typical Boro nailed on Argyle win that you've gone 3-1 win. So Boro, fair enough.
5-0 Plymouth.
Unless there's anything else you want to cover about Boro before we go, I think we'll call that a night.
Yeah, call it a night.
Yeah, why not? Short and sweet. Well, I say short and sweet. Still 15 minutes long. That's long enough. Cheers, Johnny. Before we go, where can people find your content? Very good content. Actual football content, award-winning content, isn't it? Unlike ourselves.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. But you guys do some really fun stuff as well. So, I mean, you are probably one of the best shows we speak with. So, and I do mean that, Aaron, not just because we're friends. I do mean that. I do mean that.
I'll pay you later.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Thanks for the 20 quid earlier. But yeah, you can find us at Boro_breakdown on X or Twitter, whatever it is called now, and then just search for Boro Breakdown on the podcast providers and YouTube, and you'll find us there.
Yeah, nice. And if I've done my job properly, there'll be a link in the description of both the pod and the YouTube below. Cheers, Johnny.
Cheers, everyone.